So the first method, the graphical display or tableau we will learn to describe a categorical data is called frequency distribution. And you've already learned this frequency distribution in your previous math class. So let me remind you the definition of frequency distribution. A frequency distribution is a tabular summary of data showing the number or frequency of observations in each of several non-overlapping categories or classes. So for instance, for each semester, the professor will create the assessment report, and towards each class, the professor will have three different categories to categorize the student: unsatisfactory, satisfied, and over expectation. So those three categories. Then they will go back to look at each student's performance and record how many students are belonging to unsatisfactory category and how many of them belong to the satisfactory category and how many of them belong to the beyond expectation category. So by looking at that, it will be very easy to know the general information about the whole population. So the objective for the frequency distribution is to provide insights about the data that cannot be quickly obtained by looking only at the original data. So you can think about the faculty's assessment report again. So looking at the frequency distribution, the faculty can very quick to get the conclusion that if the major part of the class meet the expectation or not meet the expectation, so that they can further to apply a certain teaching strategy to increase students' performance. So now we will use example to show how the frequency distribution looks like. So this example is related to the Miranda Inn. So guests staying at Miranda Inn were asked to rate the quality of their accommodation as being excellent, above average, average, below average, or poor. The ratings provided by the sample of 20 guests are. So here is the data set. So you can see there is no number in this data set. So everything is recorded by the words. But just within this these 5 words: excellent, above average, average, below average, or poor. So looking at this data, you shouldn't feel unfamiliar, because most of the service industry, they will do the customer survey, and their scale usually adopt this way: excellent, above average, average, below average, or poor. So if you're the manager of this inn, what do you care most? Obviously, you want to see, do you have most high frequency that for the average, or you have the highest frequency for poor, so that you can know the performance of your employee. So here is how the frequency distribution look like. So the first row is the list of possible levels: poor, below average, average, above average, and excellent. So these are the categories. So we have 5 categories. And on the second column is called the frequency. It is showing us on each category how many guests vote to that category. So we have 2 people vote poor, 3 people vote below average, 5 people vote for average, 9 people vote above average, and 1 people vote excellent. So we can find most people will vote above average. But instead, if you look at the original data, and you will get lost, because they are just some random levels, and you don't have any idea about the employee's performance or the consumer's review about this inn. But if you look at the frequency distribution, you can very easy to identify that most customer feel the Mandarin Inn is above average. So now what we will do next video is using the Excel file to illustrate how to create a frequency distribution